Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the GFreak Speaks podcast, episode number 40. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are nearly at the 1 year mark, getting along, ticking along, as they would say. But I just want to let you guys know this podcast is sponsored by absolutely nobody. So if you guys want to sponsor the podcast, slide into the DMs at Jack and GFreak. We can sort out a bit of a shout out for you. Whoever wants to jump on board. We're open to it. Joining us today is Adam AdzBBR, professional Halo pro that we have joining us. So how you doing, man? What's going on?
Yeah, man, really good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Pleasure, bro. Pleasure, man. Pleasure. Hey, dude, just before we got onto the podcast, I was smacking down some pizza shapes as well, just like a couple cheeky ones. And I tell you what, man, that's a good little cheeky meal, isn't it? Are you into the pizza shapes?
Yeah, mate. I would rank pizza as the what flavor?
Pizza shapes.
Pizza.
Yeah,
The
top one.
So I would rank pizza as the second favorite.
Okay.
Cheese and bacon was always my favorite.
Oh, okay.
I was notorious at school. Mum would always go to the shops and buy them when they're on special, and she'd buy out the shops literally of like every flavor. We'd have like 50 boxes of shapes in our cupboard.
Yep.
And so every day at lunch at school, I'd have a box of shapes, and everyone would try to steal them. And I always had the cheese and bacon one. So
a full fucking box, or like the small ones?
Box. No, full box as a kid. So probably wasn't hitting the right macronutrients back then. No protein, all carbs.
Yep. Just carb loading, mate. Carb loading for
it was a good gamer diet.
On the weekend or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking like back in the day, would have had to have been barbecue for me, and then pizza, and then like cheddar, like the blue box.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
not
then,
about cheddar.
And then the bacon, the bacon and cheese that you're talking about. But
that was
nowadays,
the pink box.
Yeah, but nowadays, out of those four, and if you guys are listening to the podcast, write down in the comments below on YouTube what you guys rank the top four. But I reckon, I'm thinking personally, pizza. Then I'm going to go barbecue. Then I go cheddar. Then I go to equal with cheddar in third. I would say cheese and bacon.
Yeah, okay.
What would you go?
I don't know if you can do an equal third.
I'm going equal third. I'm doing it.
I would do cheese and bacon.
Yep. Barbecue.
Pizza, and then literally I did not like the rest of them. Cheddar, nah. Chicken, nah.
Yeah, chicken. I forgot about chicken. That it was a weird. The chip, the texture of the biscuit itself was like.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah? It was like mushy. It was a mushy chip.
Like flaky, yeah.
Yeah, flaky.
It was just fucking weak.
Like there's crunch to the other ones, no crunch to the chicken one.
There's like no fucking balls behind it, man. This one's like weak and wimpy and like that fucking, just loser of a kid in the schoolyard, just fucking nothing to him, bro. No guts. Just get taken to the cleaners when he gets the ball in his hands for the first time. No idea what to do. Gets crunched. But
it'd be interesting to know the stats on the most popular shapes. They've actually got a shitload of flavors now.
Yeah, they do. What about when they fucking changed the flavors, bro? When they changed it. Did you have some of those ones?
Yeah, it was terrible. I don't know why. Yeah, they brought it back now.
Yeah, they brought it back. I reckon that was a bit of a publicity stunt.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Get everyone talking about shapes again.
Yeah, I don't know. We're talking about it right now, but it is a couple years down the track. And also before today when I was like sitting in the office, I was just like looking through advertisements and stuff. That's part of my job. And I saw on like the footy record on the outside of the book, there was like a little rip-off part, and it was for like casein custard. And I'm like, fuck, I'm a bit peckish here. I've never had it before. And there's a Chemist Warehouse downstairs. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna go get some of this shit. It was actually really good. Have you ever had it? Casein custard?
No, I have not had casein custard, but I think casein's protein, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like
pretty sure casein is it? The protein found in
like a
dairy products.
Slow release one, yeah. And generally you have it like overnight type of thing. I had it for a snack today. Actually, no, it was a casein mousse. So yeah, one scoop, put it in there, full cream milk, or you can do water. I went the full cream milk because I wanted the full delight of it. And had it, mate. It was fucking grouse. Like some of the shit that they make nowadays is just nuts, man. Never had it. Yeah, I'm a protein guy, but but do you work out?
Yeah, I do. I go to the gym 5 days a week usually, or try to anyway.
Yeah.
But most days, going 5 days a week, and I was a personal trainer once upon a time, so
okay.
I know what I'm doing at the gym anyway. So yeah, I try and have a decent amount of protein every day. I don't want to go to the gym for nothing. So
yeah,
Yeah.
Doing all those
Yeah.
protein farts stinking out the fucking joint.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, the missus loves it.
bad, bro. Bad.
Yeah.
Hey, do you ever see, because this is how it is in my gym, but at your gym, do you ever see like PTs that you're fitter than? And you're like, bro, how can you like as a client take that person more fucking seriously than yourself when they don't even look good?
I know. I mean, like, you know, theoretically they can know what they're talking about and be fat, but
True.
you know, it is good to see that they put their own methods into practice. But I mean, in saying that, you know, like some people have got great genetics. They look fit year round and they eat like shit. So, you know, you could have a PT that looks fit as and is not going to get your results either. So
Yeah.
it's hard to know. You know, you've got to do your own research. You've got to have some level of understanding, I think, before you get a personal trainer, because there's so many bullshit ones out there that can lead you in the wrong direction. And you know, I knew that in the industry. Like I worked at a few gyms, and some of the PTs, they were terrible, and their clients never got any results.
Yeah.
So, and they looked great. The PTs looked great. So
Really?
I agree. PTs,
Okay.
I agree. PTs really should look after themselves because their body is their branding. You know, it's their marketing.
Exactly.
But you know, theoretically, a good body doesn't mean they know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's very true. And everyone's body's different as well. Like you've got to understand that. Like one diet may work for you. Yeah, that same diet just doesn't work for me, but it works for 50 other people. It's kind of like with the COVID vax. Like 100,000 people are okay with it in the general population, but 1,000 people have gotten more ill from the shot itself because they were the minority that weren't, you know, taken into account. And whatnot. So it has its things and whatnot. But look, man, let's jump the fuck off that, okay? Tell me your history about your history within esports and gaming, and how'd you get into it, man?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been around for a very, very long time. You know, I've been playing competitive Halo since 2004, so 18 years now. I'm 32 years old, so over half of my life I've been playing competitive Halo. Prior to that, you know, like I'd always been a gamer since I was a little kid. My dad had a Commodore 64, which was like a very, very old console when I was 2 years old, and I'd play video games on that.
Great car.
Yeah, no, actually, that was my first car as well when I was on my P plates.
Oh, really?
A Commodore, yeah.
Love that. Do you still have it or nah?
No, mate, no.
Okay, do you have a Commodore still at all?
No, I would never now.
Oh, really? Okay, you've gone off and you've gone cold turkey, mate. What'd you get instead?
Yeah.
What do you got?
I've got a Hilux now.
Okay, good car. Great car.
Yeah. It's a work vehicle, so it'll do.
It's a great car, mate. They're a fucking workhorse. They are like the flagship of utes on the market and whatnot. I have an Amarok myself. Between the Hilux.
They're nice.
Yeah, it was between the Hilux and that one and the Amarok, and I'm like, oh well, we're doing more on road and towing and stuff, so we got the Amarok just for the towing capacity and whatnot. So, but if I went full driving, dude, Hilux is just thumps.
Yeah,
great car. Yeah. But anyway, back to your Halo. And
yeah. And then, you know, the first tournament I ever played in my entire life, a gaming tournament, was when I was 5 years old. And Mum signed me up to this Super Mario tournament down at my local shopping center. And it was basically on a Super Nintendo, and it was whoever could get the most points in 5 minutes won another Super Nintendo, which was a bit of a weird prize. I think it was supposed to be a bit of a casual tournament. If you didn't own a Super Nintendo, come down, have a go, and you might win one. But I already owned a Super Nintendo, and so Mum would set me up with a timer and get me to start on the first level, a 5-minute timer, click the timer, and make me run through the level, and we'd work on how to get the highest score. So then Mum took me to this event. Mum's a very competitive person as well.
Yeah.
Took me to this event, obviously smashed everybody, and then we had 2 Super Nintendos. And I don't actually know what Mum did with the second one. I think she might have sold it.
Oh no, she should have boxed it, bro.
Box. Oh. And then the following year, we did it again with my brother. I've got a younger brother, and he actually won that year. And then that year he won a Sony PlayStation, the first Sony PlayStation. So a bit of a better prize then.
Damn, man. So did you say that there was an age group that was there, or you couldn't do that PlayStation 1 the following year?
No, I could, and my brother just beat me. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, at least it stayed in the family, man.
Yeah.
Dude, what?
And I'll bring my brother up, I suppose, at some point in this because he played competitive Halo with me as well. But I've just always been a gamer basically, and Halo specifically was a game that I always loved. My brother got an Xbox for Christmas one year. He got Halo because Halo just sort of came with Xboxes originally, and we would just play Halo all the time. And I really fell in love with the game. I would be sneaking into his room when he was asleep at night and playing like Halo until midnight.
Yeah.
And then Halo 2 was coming out, and that was when Xbox Live sort of first came out as well. And so I got Halo 2, got Xbox Live, and actually started playing on other people online for the first time. And like being, I think, a very naturally competitive person, I just fell in love with it. And I remember playing in the 1v1 ranked playlist, and I played this guy. His name's Teddy Joe. He's actually got a younger brother who's still playing competitively now. And he said, you're actually pretty good. There's these tournaments called World Cyber Games. You should check it out and maybe sign up. And that was just music to my ears because I've been looking for this, I've been looking for tournaments. And so I Googled, or I probably wasn't Google back then, Alta Vista or something, looked up
MSN.
looked up World Cyber Games, and they had like a full-on website, like who was the best in every country, leaderboards, like photos of their faces. They're really like glorifying the number one players, and like that from that moment forward, I wanted to be the number one Halo player in Australia. And so it was 2004 at that point, and WCG was running a 2v2 Halo 2 World Championships. So qualifiers in each state, national finals, and then world finals. So I signed up to the Queensland qualifiers with a guy from my school who was the next best guy to me in my school at playing Halo. And I think we got like 5th place or something. And yeah, that's sort of where my competitive Halo journey started. And then from there, sort of just kept playing and kept getting better and better. And back in the day, because there was no Xbox Live, everybody tended to play in teams with people from their own state because it was, people you could actually meet up with and practice with. You could go to each other's house and hook up the system link on Xbox and play with each other. So I had a team full of Queensland guys. One of them was my brother, and there was these other 2 brothers from the Gold Coast. And they were called Matt and Fergie, and we were a really, really good team. And there was basically this national finals that got run in Sydney by Oz Halo, and it was going to be the biggest event that Halo had ever had in Australia. And so everyone from all around Australia came. I think there was 26 teams that showed up to a LAN in 2006, which was massive. And there was basically one really good team from each state. And we played out the tournament. We ended up getting 4th place. The Melbourne team got 1st place, and then 2 Sydney teams got 2nd and 3rd, I think. And then after that tournament, one of the guys in the Perth team, whose gamer tag was Hacksaw, approached me and said, I want to make a super team. Like I think they got 5th at the event. He won the 1v1 event, so he's like a really smart guy, really good player. And so he said, I want to make a super team, and he's like, I noticed you were really good on your team, and I'd love to have you on the team. And he's like, I've also asked Dante from the Melbourne team and Berserker from the Sydney team, and do you want in? And like I said yes immediately because I knew they were all great players as well. And that was the start of BBR, which Best BR was our team name back then. And we basically went on to win for the next, 4 years in a row straight, like didn't drop a single tournament. So we won for about 2 years in Halo 2, and then Halo 3 came out, and we won we were the number one team for the first 2 years in Halo 3. And during that time, esports, competitive esports was in its infancy around the world, and especially Australia. So we were going to LANs, we were going like flying down to Melbourne, flying down to Sydney, winning $5,000 here, $5,000 there. Sometimes you wouldn't win any cash. There was no sponsorships or anything like that. So it was really basic stuff. And then once again, Halo 3 got released, and World Cyber Games announced they were going to run a Halo 3 World Finals. So we were the number one team in Australia. We qualified really easily for World Finals, and flew over to Germany for the World Finals in 2008 for World Cyber Games, and we were actually the Americans are really, really good at shooting games, particularly Halo. But with the World Cyber Games, there was only one team allowed from each country, so we actually had quite a good shot of placing highly at this event. You know, normally the top 10 teams in the world are all American, so if it's an open event, you know, you got no hope in the top 10. So this event we actually had a really good shot, and we ended up getting 4th place, which we were happy with. We lost in the semifinals by 1 kill, which was super close to a French team, and it was a single elimination tournament as well, so there was no second chances.
That's a long way to fly for one and done. Honestly, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's
well, we played a few rounds. We beat a fair few countries to get to the semifinals.
Yeah.
And the settings that they used for World Cyber Games was so odd. Like Major League Gaming, MLG existed back then. They had their own settings, which were, you know, finely tuned and tested, and everyone was playing. And World Cyber Games came up with their own settings, which was basically just Slayer. First to unlimited kills with a 15-minute time limit. So,
my God.
And that was it. And you'd play one map against a team, and whoever won the map won. And so it was like,
Jesus.
Yeah, and it's notorious in Halo. Everyone knows that Slayer is the least competitive game type because there's basically just no objective to go for. You just have to kill the other team. So anyway, it was a great experience. It was my first overseas trip for competitive gaming, so we were obviously stoked and had a great time in Germany. Like, we were a bunch of 18-year-olds running around Germany, so I remember, like, we got on the piss like quite hard a lot, and it was it was a good time as well. So no regrets.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like, I can keep going about the competitive story because it just goes on forever. But you know, that was when I was 18. I'm 32 now, and it's sort of continued on from there. I've had breaks here and there because, you know, as you get older, life gets in the way, and especially, like I said, you know, with esports back in the day, it definitely did not pay the bills. You were purely in it for the love of it, purely in it for the glory, and you know, it was just a good time. Now it can pay the bills. You know, there's a number of teams, even playing Australian Halo, which it's not a massively popular game at the moment, that are on salaries, you know, enough to live off. So yeah, it's a different world now, but it's awesome. It's so cool to see where esports is heading.
I know, man. It's crazy to like look back and say, fuck, man, we've come a long way in a bit of a short time, I guess, as well. But the fact that we're part of the building blocks to building that better future for the young tackers coming through now, which are ridiculously cracked. Like, everyone's got a headset. Yeah. Not everyone used to have a headset. Not everyone used to have a really good control freak. Not everyone used to have back paddles and shit. Dude, now it's, if you don't have that, you're left in the dust, man. Like, it's insane. It's insane.
Dude, people used to play on big CRT monitors and just listen out of the speakers.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. And you'd have your one controller for 5 years, and it would be broken, and you'd just deal with it. Like, it was so different back in the day, and it is. You're totally right. It's so much more competitive now, and everyone is more cracked now, and there's a lot more incentive now to play. And you know, I don't want to say that it was easier back in the day, because it certainly didn't feel easier back in the day.
Yep.
And particularly with Halo, there's probably an argument to be made that it was so much more popular back in the day, so it really was more competitive. There was a lot more people playing, so you know, you'd imagine the skill ceiling would have been higher. But now there's a lot more to play for. So,
yep.
And, you know, like, I'm still playing competitive Halo now, and I'd like to say that I'm not any worse than I was when I was 19 years old, but I'm not number one anymore. So,
yep.
It's, obviously, like, you know, as the years go on, the good players start to add up, and they start forming their own teams and forming their own strategies. And, yeah, it's certainly very, very competitive now.
For sure. Who back in your day would have been like the barcode of today?
It was Dante, which is he's actually my teammate currently in Team Immunity, and so we were on BBR back in the day, and he was the barcode. And you know, something that's really unique about barcode, but Dante also had this, was that the American pros love barcode and they want to play with him all the time, and that Dante had that back in the day. Dante was the only player, the only Australian player, basically the only foreign player that was getting invited to play in American lobbies. Yep. And he was destroying people on dial-up connection back in 2006. Yeah. So, yeah, for sure, Dante was the barcode of back in our day, like 100%.
It's pretty cool when an Aussie gets selected for an overseas team and then everyone starts to rally behind that individual.
Yeah.
And to show like the power of what the country is. Like you've seen like Barcode recently with G2. You've got Pred with Seattle Surge. You've got all these guys that, you know, in different esports as well. Obviously, I'm mainly across the FPS titles. Sorry to the people out there that have also competed overseas and you're from Australia and whatnot. We'll look at our Apex team. Jen Burton, Sharky, and I can't remember, but they're world champions as well in Apex, and they're all Aussies as well, and they're back-to-back world champions as well, which is crazy. Yeah. And the thing that annoys me though, I get like anyone but a gamer wouldn't get triggered, but because I'm a gamer, I got triggered that like there was no news about Aussies winning the world championship. There was news about Fortnite and Booger winning and signing to the Sentinels and like, oh my god, it's a $1 million tournament. You know, and it's just frustrating. It's like broadcast it, you know, show some publicity. But anyway, who knows?
I mean,
man?
Look, I mean, it's you know, a lot of these tournaments are run by Americans and they're very patriotic. They want to see American teams win. Yep. And I don't know if you've been to any international events, but when you go and you see the Americans and how patriotic they are, it's insane. You know, they really want everyone that's not American to go home. Yeah, it's like I can't believe it. You know, like it's borderline racist. Some of the stuff that I've seen, to be honest. But,
America, you know, fuck yeah,
literally. Like no joke. Like I won't say what org it was, but at Kansas City just recently, they were telling the Mexican team to go back home and saying like a lot of racial slurs. Like it was like
right.
And this is like quite a big org, and the org owners are all there behind the team.
Are they saying it too?
Yeah, legitimately.
The org owners were saying it too.
Like, yeah, it's... Oh, God. It's, yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
Just quickly, just a quick question. It's a yes or no. Was it a pool play team?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's bad.
It was two pool play teams. It was against Pittsburgh Knights. That's the Latin American team. I won't say who they were versing.
Okay.
I mean, that would probably narrow it down.
How was the Kansas City anyway? Like, how was that experience? I know that I heard it from the Chiefs boys' perspective, a little bit from AK a month or so ago when I had him on the podcast. But from your perspective, how was it flying over there? Did you fund your own trips? How'd you get over there? And how was the experience, man?
Yeah, so we qualified through the online qualifiers. Basically, top 3 teams got their flights covered.
Yep.
So. Yeah, we had our team. It was called BBR, and it was me, Dante, Benji, who's a COD player, and Ninjestics, another Halo player.
Yep.
And we had Ryu as our coach, who was also another COD player. Yeah, it was great. Yeah. I think that they're quite young, Benji and Ryu, and they've come across because they didn't like the new COD, which is understandable. And yeah, it was a great experience. You know, like Kansas City's a bit of a random spot, to be honest. Like it's in the middle of nowhere.
It's hard to get to.
Yeah. We had to fly into Dallas. Flew straight from Sydney to Dallas, which is a 16-hour flight, which is the second longest flight in the world. London to Perth's the longest flight, 17 hours. Yeah. And it was a cool experience, and like the setup and the amount of money that HCS is pouring into this this season, I suppose, or the HCS is crazy. The main stage setup was epic, and like, you know, Americans' passion for things is just unreal. You know, like they all show up to these events, like Optic Gaming and FaZe and Kansas City. Look, it was Kansas City Pioneers were in this tournament as well in Kansas City, so they had the most ridiculous crowd there. Yep. There's some clips going around which you can see, and it's like they're literally almost rioting when KCP's winning games. So yep. It was just awesome to see that, and that level of passion and hype and love for Halo. And you know, there was like over 130 teams there, and just there's teams in the open bracket screaming at each other when they're winning games, like you know, us included. You know, we had a few tight games in the open bracket.
Go for it.
It was great. It was great. You know, like it really reignited my passion for Halo, and competitive gaming. I just wish we had stuff like that more often and in Australia. So I mean, we've got DreamHack coming up in less than 2 weeks. It's like 10 days away.
11 days, baby. But when people listen to this podcast, it is going to be this Friday. Okay?
Yeah, wow.
That's when this podcast comes out. This Friday, DreamHack. Make sure to get down to see Adam and his crew, as well as the Chiefs boys and everyone else competing, okay? Because it's going to be a big weekend. $100,000 CS tournament as well. League of Legends are doing their final there as well, for qualifying for Worlds. It's a big event. It's going to be a big weekend. I don't know if I can announce this. I don't know. I'm just going to say it, okay? We are going to be hosting a stage. We're going to be hosting a stage there. I'm not sure what stage. I really don't know. But if I'm up there, I can give some definite gas to some people, some individuals out there.
Excellent. That's big. That's big at DreamHack.
If ESL lets me. But anyway, I'm pumped for that, bro. You got your ticket. Because you're in Brisbane, aren't you? You've got your tickets booked and stuff for DreamHack?
Yeah. Yep. So we actually qualified yesterday.
Oh, great.
So we haven't really played much this season, so we had no points. So top 4 teams by points pre-qualified for a pool play.
Yep.
And then they had the regional qualifiers yesterday, and the top 2 teams in that qualified. So we played in that and qualified through that. So yeah, we just sorted all our flights out today with ESL. So
great.
We will be there.
And is ESL paying for that too?
Well, I suppose it's ESL. I guess it is.
Okay, no,
so
I'm just saying,
talking to anyway.
Out of your pocket. It's not out of your pocket. The flights.
No.
That's great. That's so.
Yeah,
cool,
they look after everyone pretty well. Everyone's booked to stay at the Hilton. So
oh mate, fuck me.
Yeah.
Jesus, you can't complain out, bro. You've got yourself a good weekend locked in there. Okay.
Oh yeah.
There's plenty of stuff around the Hilton. I'll definitely see you there.
We got a late flight booked on Monday, so we're gonna have a big night on Sunday after we win.
Oh, there we go, baby. I mean, there we go.
Well, after we play Chiefs in the finals, anyway.
I'm gonna have to play neutral ground here. Okay. One thing when I was watching Kansas, I noticed that the Chiefs were up against Optic in the same pool. I'm like, dude, out of all the pools, so they could have been in a different pool. Okay.
They had it rough.
They definitely did, but I'm spewing that they were in the same pool and they just actually thumped them. I don't think Chiefs won a series, which is unfortunate, but it's hard to go over there and adapt. Like even for you boys, like you go over there, you're the teacher over here. So when you go over there, it's really hard to adapt fast because if you're not fast, you're last, and you're back on the plane, which it's tough, man. It's a tough reality of it.
Yeah, 100%. Like you need a long time to really adapt. It's not like we're not making mistakes in our gameplay over here. They're just not exposed as much, I suppose. You know, every little mistake you do over there gets severely punished, especially if you're going to play Optic Gaming. But any of those pro teams, and what makes it really difficult is, you know, unfortunately, ANZ Halo is not in the best position on a global scale at the moment. We have fallen behind. You know, there was points where we were able to make it into the top 10, like the old Team Immunity back in, I think, 2010 or something, got 9th place at an MLG, which was huge for us. But, you know, now we've regressed back down to maybe top 20 or just outside the top 20. And so it's hard, you know, for Chiefs, you know, they made pool play, which is great, but they're only playing pro teams. So, you know, trying to build that momentum up or any confidence at all is really, really difficult because you just, especially you play Optic Gaming round 1, you just get dominated. You're not feeling that good going to the next series.
Fuck no.
And, you know, it's hard. It's hard when you play a team that much better than you. You're just getting so destroyed. It's actually really hard to try and pick something to work on.
Yeah.
You know, like, you just feel like everything's going wrong. So it is hard, you know, and I can almost guarantee if you ask those guys if they prefer to play in the open bracket, they would have for sure. Because we had a great time in the open bracket, you know, like we made, I think, 7 or 8 rounds in. And so we got to play so many series. And
it's a lot of reps.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, like teams progressively got better and better as we went. So it was kind of, I don't know, a good way to ease into some of the more skilled teams.
Yep.
And you know, we got to win some games. So it was just made it a lot funner. Obviously, they got the cool experience of being on main stage, but it's not that cool getting smashed on main stage.
Yeah. and also you don't get to talk a lot of shit either. You know, just
No.
at the back, and it's also if you're up into that shit as well.
Yeah.
But honestly, man, I'm a bit of a shit talker myself, but it's all for the love of the game and whatnot. It's not nothing personal.
100%.
But it's exciting, man. I just recently there was a COD a couple months ago, and that was wild at Fortress. So I'm keen to see how DreamHack is first year back in like 3 years since the Melbourne Esports Open in 2019, and it's going to be a big one, man. It's going to be an absolute kahuna. You haven't got the schedule yet at all, do you?
Yeah, we've got the Halo schedule.
Okay.
And I think there's some weird timing. I think like the grand finals are the same time as the CSGO grand finals or something like that.
No, why? Why?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. That's just what I've heard.
Oh, it better not be.
Yeah, because I don't have the CSGO schedule. I've just got the Halo schedule, but that's what I've heard. So
yeah, right. Okay, well, hopefully.
Yeah, I would like a big crowd there for the grand finals.
Yeah,
but
we'll
see.
It needs it because CSGO is great, but also you're going to get a younger crowd at a Halo event because of the fact that it's so easily accessible on a console. More so than a PC, which is, it's out of a lot of everyone's reach, majority of people's reach, because of how expensive they are.
Yeah.
Just an entry rig is like $1,000 or $1,500 now with all the minerals going up in inflating and whatnot. But yeah,
and you'd need more than a basic rig for Halo Infinite. For whatever reason, it's pretty taxing on your PC. So you actually need a pretty like high-end PC to run it.
Oh, for sure, man. For sure. It's actually fucking nuts.
Yeah.
But what are your other plans for DreamHack Melbourne and how are you feeling going into it?
Yeah, feeling good going into it. We're a little bit behind at the moment. Our team's full of old blokes. Like we've got Benno and Hef who are they took over the Australian Halo after BBR stopped playing. Basically, they became the number one team in team immunity, and then you got me and Dante. So Hef's the youngest one on our team at the age of 29. I'm the oldest, 32, and then we got Benno 31, Luke 30. So we've got a lot of life commitments on, and we haven't been practicing as hard as we would have liked. Still feeling really good going into it. We are improving, and I would love to say we're going to win it. Like that's for sure the goal. I'd say we're a top 4 team at the moment, and it's very close between all the top 4 teams. And there is that difference that LAN makes. It throws some people off. Some people play really good on it. So who knows? Like I'm actually really excited to see what the placings end up being because, not to digress it, but this Halo more than any other Halo. The difference between the placings online and LAN are massive.
Really?
Normally in all the previous Halos, the number 1, 2, 3 teams online are generally number 1, 2, 3 teams on LAN, but that has not been the case for Halo Infinite. You got Sentinels who won Kansas City, and they're sitting down in like 5th to 8th place online consistently, and then they come to LAN and just dominate everybody. Optic Gaming wins undefeated online, and then they get anywhere from 3rd to 8th on LAN. So it's I think this game has got a pretty crazy LAN factor to it. I don't really know what that reason is. I think part of it. I think a small part of it's probably the pressure that people feel at LAN. Another part of it is the desync issues that Halo Infinite has. And another part of it is, not sure how much Infinite you've played, but the footsteps are so loud online. Like you can hear people coming from halfway across the map, and it's not consistent. Like some people can hear things much better than other people for whatever reason. And then when you're at a LAN event, you can't hear footsteps anymore because there's just so much background noise on. So I think some people's awareness in the game rely on that sound factor.
Oh, for sure.
So
for sure, man. And the only
feeling
audio
good
that you have in the competitive environment is that, like, if you have a hit marker, you don't really get hit markers at all. It's just all audio, which is like if you hear a grunt, like or something like that. That's all you can go by if you get a nade or something going along at the corner. So, plus, you generally know where spawns are and how rotations work and player traits because you play the same bunch of players all the time. So you understand how their characteristics are and where they're always going to be.
Yeah. I personally prefer it. I hate sound cues. I think it takes away a level of skill or a level of awareness. You shouldn't be able to be looking at somebody and hear somebody halfway across the map that's walking up to you and have that awareness that someone's there. You should have to know where they're spawning, where they've been able to rotate to, and timings based on that, and you shouldn't be able to get free information just from a sound cue.
Yep.
And the one good thing that they did with Halo Infinite that was in Halo 5 was there is no hit markers on Halo Infinite. There used to be grenade hit markers on Halo 5. So you just lob a nade in somewhere that you want to get info on, and it tells you if there's someone there. But
yeah,
you shouldn't be able to get free info like that. You should always have to work for your information. So
yep.
yeah, I love the fact that on land you can't hear the sound as much.
Oh, for sure. There's been quite a change up in the teams as well, like Cloud9 changing, FaZe changing a little bit, Optic changing, Ola, which I still don't even know where Ola is. He's just disappeared.
Apparently he's been trying to get on teams and nobody wants him.
Fuck.
That's what Lucid had said in a recent stream. So it's a bit odd. I guess his name must have been tarnished a bit, because Optic started performing a lot better without him. So I guess everyone's looked at him and said he's a problem, but God, he'd be a good asset for a lot of those teams.
Yeah. Well, Ola brings a lot of that veteran experience and whatnot. Like Ola is probably he's the stereotypical nerd dude.
So
he looks like he knows his shit, bro.
Yeah, he could not look nerdier. He's the nicest guy, but he could not look nerdier.
He looks like the nicest guy as well. And I was looking at some photos that came up on my timeline with Fear itself because we follow each other and whatnot. And Fear had some photos of himself, and Justin just looked unrecognizable with his hair. He had the Ola mop as well.
Yeah.
And now he's tidied himself up. He looks like the fucking American pool boy with red shorts on,
Really?
He's pretty jacked, Justin out there.
Yeah, I actually haven't looked at Fear itself lately. I remember him back in the day, having the big mop blonde emo haircut.
Yeah.
But he's jacked now, is he?
I think he's just lean. He's a lean lad. And he's super fit. He's like an athletic AFL player body. Like that.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now actually.
So he's pretty jacked. I'll give him the jacked ticket right there.
Yeah,
and
very attractive,
the addition of Formal is quite huge for Optic though.
Yeah.
Changing from COD to Halo, what an absolute pisser. And then starting to dominate and whatnot. It's
he changed
unreal.
from Halo to COD originally.
Well, absolutely, that's right. Same as Crim 6. Crim 6 did the exact same. And then, a couple of years ago, Shotzi changed from Halo to COD, and now he's a multi-title world champion as well.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And Formal's a gun. Formal, he's a player that has really put in time to master every single aspect of his game. Even the way he communicates. I don't know if he naturally is just able to talk that fast, but if you hear his communications in scrims or tournaments, the amount of information he gets across in such a small time, he could be an auctioneer, that he talks so fast, but also with such conviction, you can understand every word he says. And he never complains. He's really, you can see he's worked really hard to try and master every aspect of his game. And him and Lucid on that team are just incredible. They're ridiculous players.
Lucid is ridiculous, bro. Honestly,
yeah.
He's like the barcode of Australia, but he's just nuts over there. He's like the individual that everyone wants to be.
I think in my opinion, he's for sure the number one player in the world. He's you watch him scrim, his level of understanding of the game and his awareness is just second to none. He directs Optic, and they're the number one team. Online anyway.
Yeah.
So I actually personally, I love Sentinels. I've always been a massive fan of Sentinels. Ever since they were CLG in Halo 5, they won the first World Championships. Always just been a massive fan of the way they play Halo. They really, really understand teamwork. And they can just they're really good at just adapting and coming up with things on the fly. And I just love the way they play. So I've always been a massive Sentinels fan. So
who's on their team? It's Frosty, Snakebite.
Yeah, Royal 2, and Lethal.
That's it. Yeah, that's
they've been a team. They've been a team for 6 years now.
Yep.
And basically they've been either number one or number two for the last 6 years.
Yep.
And I'm just a massive fan of the way they play Halo. I think they play Halo the correct way. It's the right way to play Halo. And Lethal has not been as good at this game, and they still get by on the fact that he just understands how to play Halo perfectly, and they still win tournaments based on it. Yep. But individually, he's fallen off a bit this game, and I think it's hard to say if they should replace him. They just won the last LAN event in a dominant fashion with Lethal, And you watch him on LAN, and he shows up. Like some of the plays he was doing is insane. Like so smart.
Yep.
So but they did try to make a roster change. I don't know if you knew that. Renegade tried to go from Cloud9 to Sentinels to replace Lethal.
I did hear that.
He spoke about it on his stream recently, but he said he just didn't go about it in the best way, and Cloud9 were pissed off. So the number that I've heard going around was they offered Sentinels $1 million buyout for Renegade, which Sentinels obviously was never going to pay.
Yep.
And then Renegade was then left in a position where Cloud9 didn't want him anymore.
Yeah.
So he was left without a team.
Yep.
And
because he did it the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. And then so now he's found himself on FaZe Clan, and they've got banned from FaZe. So yeah, he said on his stream, he was being quite humble about it. He said he's learnt a lot about life during this, and he regrets the way he went about things.
Is Snipedown still on FaZe?
Yeah, Snipedown's on FaZe. Snipedown falcated Spartan, who was in E United, and Renegade. So individually, super skilled team, and they seem to be performing better and better. So yeah, it's a crazy scene over in the States, and like they're ruthless. Like it's all business to them. Like they do not care. There's no emotions, feeling. There's no friends. It's just it's insane.
Just go for it. Go for the jugular. See, this is one thing that tilted the absolute shit out of me. The COD World Champs was on the same weekend as the Halo Championship Series. I was just like, why? Like, they've had every other week. Like, they could have had the weekend before, the weekend after. COD Champs is booked in for a long time. So I don't know why Halo tried to compete for viewership.
Yeah.
I just...
I don't know what upper management's doing in 343. Like, honestly, no idea.
They got to sort their shit out.
And there's obviously something there, like their hands are either tied at some point, like by shareholders or something. I don't really know what it is, but no logical person makes the decisions they're making. So there's obviously something there that's affecting their decision making.
Oh, mate.
And I don't know what it is, because they're making a lot of mistakes. It's such a shame to see Halo in such a shitty spot, with such low player counts. It's terrible.
Well, the start of the game was just absolutely wild. The game, I had never seen a game like an arena shooter, apart from COD, that's come onto the scene and just absolutely smashed down those doors like a raging bull and take it by storm. Everyone was on that game. I didn't stop playing the game. All I was talking about was the game. I was playing the game, trying to get clips in the game. That's all I was doing. It was the best arena shooter I'd ever played for the past couple of years. And it was incredible. I had an absolute ball. Loved getting on, playing competitive with the boys. But nowadays, and even like a few months ago, like 4 months ago when I last played competitive, I was playing just by myself trying to rank up, and I'd win like 5 games in a row. I'm like slowly, and then I'd just lose one game and just bang, demote. It was such a hard system unless you were stacked in a team, completely comming all the time. Like there was nothing there, and the game just needs extra support, like you were saying.
The game got stale very quickly.
Yeah, and it's just
it was released too early at the end of the day. I think everyone knows that. It was released without just basic features that every single other Halo has. And it is a great base game. Like that's why it was so popular. That's why everybody loved it when it came out. It is a great base game.
Yep.
But it got stale very quickly. There was no reward system. There's no Forge. There's no theater. There's so many features
still
that
no
are missing.
Forge.
Yeah, still no Forge.
That was supposed to come like months ago, wasn't it? Half a year ago.
Yeah, they said it was supposed to come with season 2, and then they said no, end of season 3 now.
Oh my
and
God.
They have given some content creators early access to it. And people have been creating some actually really insane looking stuff. Like it definitely is going to help. But for whatever reason, the access they've given it to, they can't save files. So they can only make what they can make in a 24-hour period. And it's still nuts what some people are doing. So once it is actually fully released, it'll give Halo a lot of variety.
Will it be too late though?
Yeah, the only way, in my opinion, the only way Halo's going to come back is there's also been leaks now leaks of Battle Royale game mode. They don't have the player base for a Battle Royale. So the only way Halo's going to come back, they need Forge, they need a Battle Royale, and they need to entirely new marketing campaign. Like they need to basically relaunch the game and try and get those numbers back in.
Yep.
Because how are you supposed to have a 150 player battle royale game with 5,000 people online? Like,
Oh,
there's going to be like 10 lobbies going at once. That's it.
I
Like,
know.
it's hard enough to get an 8-player match at the moment searching ranked. So imagine trying to fill 100 people in a game. So they need to, like, I don't know, but that's my feeling on it. I don't think they're going to get the numbers back organically. I don't think they're just going to come back over time. They need to fully relaunch the game once the features are out. I think they're still calling it a live beta. So maybe they've got some budget there for a relaunch when it's officially done. I don't know, but
Yeah. Knowing their timing, they'll probably choose like, let's launch it when Warzone 2 comes out.
Yeah.
Like what they did with COD Champs. Like, honestly, man, it's just so frustrating. It makes you really torn. It does divide the community. But COD, because of how much it's worth, even though Halo is Microsoft technically, COD, because of just the fan base there, they would probably outplay Halo unless it was an absolute banger. Like, it's like trying to take the championship belt in UFC from someone and you're the person coming out. You have to knock them out. If you don't knock them out, you're not getting that belt. You're not getting that belt by decision. It's simple. It's like on the weekend, Edwards versus Usman. Like, he just fucking had to knock that fucker out.
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, COD and Halo have always been massive rivals in the gaming space, I suppose. Like, they're in the exact same, brand, I suppose. They're both first-person shooters and pretty simple games. And, yeah, there's no way Halo's going to... I'd be trying to not compete with COD. I'd be letting COD do whatever they want, whatever launch dates they want. All good. We'll launch later.
Yep, we'll launch later. Although they shot themselves in the foot by taking so long to get this Halo stuff off the floor, because COD, everyone knows that COD has been very stale for the past, I don't know, 6 months, I'd say. So they had that perfect timing for them to just take it, have no competition. Their only competition is like Tarkov and Apex, which are going well, and they have their audience, which wouldn't change over anyway. Because they'll have their main audience there. So they'd come and dabble with Halo, but they wouldn't steal them, saying that. But it's just, they really dropped the ball when it comes to that. But look, man, I want to chat to you about your business and what motivated you to do that. Is this your own business?
Yeah, yep. So I've got a security fencing and gate company.
Yep.
It's called Fencing. It's my initials followed by fencing. We've got about 25 staff in Queensland, and we work for tier 2 and 3 builders all around Queensland. I'm someone that always sort of strives to be the best at whatever I do. I love having goals and achieving goals, and it ties into competitive gaming as well. I suppose like I started fencing when I finished school, and just sort of one thing led to another, trying to progress further and further, and eventually started this company 5 years ago now, with a good friend of mine. And it's been an amazing journey, and the business is in a great spot. We're looking at expanding interstate in the next 12 months. So we've been flying down to Melbourne and Sydney recently, just doing a bit of research, and we're going to be opening up most likely in Melbourne in about 12 months' time as well. And we've got to the business to a really, really good spot. It's been a really, really tough 5 years. It's always hard running a business and starting a business, and like God, we've put in some hours.
Yep.
But something that's made a massive difference for us is we signed up with a business coach pretty early on, maybe about a year in.
Yep.
They're actually called Pro Trade United, and they're focused on trades businesses and helping coach them, because it's probably the same with a lot of businesses, but particularly trades businesses. There's a lot of good tradies out there that want to start their own business because they're a good tradie, but they're not a good business owner. They've got no idea how to run a business. They know how to build a fence, or they know how to build a house. But running a business is a completely separate thing. And so, having a business coach is, much like having a PT. If you want the best results, like you'll get a PT, you'll get a business coach, and they've really helped us over the last 5 years sort of learn how to run a business really effectively. And we've got it to the point now, like I said, we've got 25 staff. And Matt, my business partner, and I, we probably do 2 hours work a day. And that's including doing all this research, going into interstate and stuff. So we've managed to systemize the business to a point where we really don't have to do a lot at all. It gives me a lot of time to game on the side, which is quite good.
No, that's good, man. That's good. And so how important is it to have a business coach before getting into business?
I think you definitely you've got to understand your numbers in business. You've got to understand how to read a profit and loss report, how to read a balance sheet, and understand cash flow. I think if you understand those three things before you start a business, that's enough to get you going. But I think if you definitely need to get a little bit business savvy. You need to learn business basics, ideally, before you start a business. We didn't. And, we basically just lost a shitload of money over the first 2 years while we were learning. It's You're either going to pay for it in time or you're going to pay for it in money. And we pay for it in both.
Yep.
So, it is important. Like I said, we were good tradesmen. We had no idea how to run a business. And fortunately, we're both pretty switched on guys anyway. So we do pick things up pretty quickly. But there's just no way in the world that we would probably still be around if we never got a coach as a business, and definitely no way we'd be where we are today without them. So highly, highly, highly recommend getting a business coach in whatever field you're in. Ideally, they're specialized in what you do, and a coach won't tell you what to do. They'll just give you the tools and show you how to do it. And it's obviously your job to implement everything. So, our coach doesn't come into our business and say, you need to put that system in, put that system in. They just sort of give you the tools and guide you, and you've got to put in the work yourself as well. But yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's like anything in life. Like if you're going to the gym every day, I'd recommend getting a personal trainer to give you some guidance if you don't know anything about it and teach you, about health and fitness. And it's the same with business. And businesses can be so complex, and there's just so much to know and learn. And there's so many successful businesses out there that are making a lot of money, but the business owners are just spent. They're burnt out, and that's not the goal at the end of the day. I started a business because I wanted to have freedom. I wanted to have more time for myself. I wanted to have more money. And sadly, that's not the case for a lot of business owners. And you definitely got to put in the work to get past that point. But it's a sad reality that for a lot of business owners, that's life. There's guys that start businesses at the age of 30 and then retire at the age of 70, and they've been stressed that entire time. And that's not the goal at all.
Interesting. It's an interesting take that you have there, and it's respectable too that you've done it in a way in I guess a short period of time. You've picked yourself up from I guess you could say a little bit of a darker time in those 2 years where you were like, holy shit, tearing your hair out, possibly going grey, and then you brought yourself back on track and whatnot. But what are some things that you've learnt along the way that you would give to people trying to make their own business? What are some top 3 things?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Like I said, understand your numbers. And it's not just your financial numbers. Understand, I mean, for us, what's your conversion rate on quotes? How many quotes do we need to do to win a job? Things like that. How many calls do we need to get a quote in? So it's understanding all facets of the business, all your numbers. I guess the next bit of advice is, don't give up. It is going to be hard work, but you can get through it. And I can tell you firsthand experience. We lost $200,000 in those first 2 years, and that was $200,000 that we didn't have. We had no backing, no funding. We were just in the red in a big way.
Yep.
And we just pushed through, and it was after that first year that we got the business coach and started to turn things around. So I suppose that would be my third bit of advice: is get a coach, and try to get a good coach. This Pro Trade United that we're a part of, you're actually part of a group of other trades business owners. So every month we meet up, and there's about 10 or 15 other business owners in our group. They're the same people every time, and you all meet up, and there's an agenda. You get a bit of coaching, and then there's a bit of networking, I suppose. And you'll talk about some issues you've had in the past month, and then someone will say, oh, we had that issue last month, this is what we did, and you're sort of bouncing ideas off other people in the same situation. And it also gives you perspective on things. I think sometimes as a business owner, shit's not going right and you feel like you're the only one, like how are all these other businesses doing it, and you become part of a group like this and you realize, wow, like every business owner is going through what I'm going through. Everybody's stressed. Everybody's got shit going on. And I suppose it just puts things into perspective and makes it not feel as doom and gloom. And, you see, like I said, like you'll have an issue that month and someone else has had that issue 6 months ago and they got through it. And so then, okay, like it's going to be fine. So, getting a coach and having a group of people to chat with is massive.
Absolutely. And the collaboration is quite interesting there. It's that people would actually come together and help you out, because whilst you are competitors in a space, was it, out of curiosity, was it another competitor of yours within the fencing space, or is it just like another trade?
No, yeah, they're just other trades owned businesses. So there's in our group we've got builders and plumbers and sparkies and all sorts of different trades businesses. But like I would gladly welcome a competitor in there. Like we've got a rule that everyone discusses their numbers openly, so we know exactly what everyone's profiting every single month, what their sales are, what their codes are, every single number. So I would gladly welcome a competitor into the group. I'd love to see their numbers and be able to collaborate and work together. I was at a conference last week down in Sydney at a security expo, and I was talking with some of our competitors down there, and I've said there's plenty of work for everyone out there. Like, we don't have to fight for the work. There is so much work, particularly in construction. And everyone should be collaborating more together. We should be working together to try and, help each other make as much money as possible. Like helping each other with secrets in the industry and different suppliers and things like that. There's no reason for us to be enemies.
Yep.
There's plenty of work for everyone. And, that can't always be said in every industry. In some industries, it is a bit more cutthroat, especially when you're dealing with an end consumer. Like we deal with builders, so it's a little bit more contractual, I suppose, and less end users.
Yep.
But I think there should be more collaboration in the industry, and there should be more friends in the industry.
So are you doing like temp fences as part of your offering as well, or are you doing just purely commercial security fences and general house gates, like electric gates and all that type of stuff? Is that what you're doing? Yeah,
so we do just permanent security fencing on commercial sites only. Yep. So we'll do new schools or even existing schools, warehouses, work for the Defence Force, things like that. So chain wire fences, steel panels, acoustic fencing, automatic gates, all that sort of thing.
Okay.
And we do a bit of work on solar farms as well, so that they'll build these big solar farms out in wherever, whoop. And for security and insurance purposes, they need a fence to go around the entire thing. So we'll go out and build 15 kilometers of chain wire fencing around the entire solar farm, which obviously it takes probably 6 guys 3 or 4 months to do that. Yep. So those are pretty good contracts for us, but we get them pretty frequently.
That is the definition of a fucking creamer. That one.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
No one around. Just do what you want. Put your fucking sunscreen on. Drill your holes. Plumb it in. Get it all right, mate. Oh,
they are cream jobs. From a management level, it's great. Like the guys going out there building the same thing every single day, day after day.
Yeah.
What's hard from a management standpoint is it can take a mental toll on the guys out there. Like, they're away from their family.
Yep.
They're working 12 hours a day and it's monotonous. Like they're building a fence in a straight line for 15 kilometers straight, basically. Like it's from a management point, like we try and bring the guys home every 3 weeks for a week, and we'll have a monthly team meeting and put on beers and stuff like that, and try and, because we've done it before where the guys have gone, no, we'll just work straight, we'll get it done, and then we've had a bunch of guys quit because they just it's hard to stay away from your family for that long, and it's hard to work 12-hour days 7 days a week because that's what they're doing. It's there's that aspect to it too, and you've got to understand that as a business owner. like you can't sit here and go, well, that's weak. You know, they should just had to put up with it. You've got to realize that people that are working for you are people and they have needs as well, and you've got to be a human about it. So
absolutely. And how important is it for you as the CEO, the boss man, to keep team morale high?
Yeah, it's massive. You know, we have a huge focus on culture in our company for multiple reasons. You know, one of the big reasons we started the business was Matt and I were both working for other fencing companies, and it sucked. Like, the culture sucked. You know, they would force you to work long days, make you work Saturdays when you didn't want to. You get no thank you at the end of the day. And that just seems to be the norm in the industry. So when we started this fencing company, we wanted to create it to be a place where we would want to work, where we would love working.
Yep.
And so, yeah, keeping morale high is massive. And you obviously get the most out of your people. You've got better staff retention, which these days is massive. It's so hard to find people to work for you, so you definitely don't want to be losing people.
Yep.
And also, I mean, it just makes you feel good at the end of the day to know that your staff are coming in and loving what they're doing and happy when they go home.
Yep.
So we've had a massive focus on that. And yeah, you'll see on our social medias, we've got a pretty good marketing team looking after our social medias, and we've got a few videos coming out shortly on our culture and what our guys' views are on it. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So for a company that may not have a good culture happening there, what would you do? What are the first few things that you'd implement as a boss if you took over?
I mean, you've got to, for sure, like I said, understand the people that are working for you are people. You know, they need personal time. They need days off. You know, I think what a lot of business owners do is their business is literally only running because their people are working 12 hours a day for them, 6 days a week. And that's just not sustainable. And that's not a good business model. So even from a business point of view, you can't be running a business that relies on your staff to be overworked and burnt out, because it's not sustainable and it won't last. So you've got to create first, I think you've got to create a business model that allows people to work an 8-hour day and go home. And sure, if they want to work some extra hours and get some overtime, they are allowed to do that.
Yep.
But yeah, you need a business model that's not going to overwork people and not going to burn them out. And then also, I mean, the construction industry is quite behind, I think, in a lot of things with culture, but the corporate world is, you know, I mean, people have been sitting in offices in cubicles for years. So the corporate world's got a massive focus on culture and keeping people motivated and trying to keep morale up. So, you know, we do a team building day every 3 months. So we'll take the whole team to paintballing or go-karting or something like that. And it's just a great day for everyone. And it sort of starts to make the people you're working with not just your co-workers, but they become your friends, you know, and everyone will go out for beers afterwards. And, you know, we're this Thursday, we're taking everyone to the footy on Thursday night. So
great.
It's one of our team building events.
Big game.
Yeah, it's Broncos versus Eels. So it's NRL. I don't know if you follow that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So it's going to be a good one.
Back it up as well with the AFL finals whilst you're up there too.
Yeah, well, there's some footy match going on down at DreamHack apparently on the Thursday night. Or I think it might be up in Brisbane.
Okay.
I think it's at the Gabba. But yeah, I know the boys on Immunity love the AFL, so we're going to go to a pub and watch it.
Dude, it was crazy. Roosters 72 points the other day. What the fuck was that?
There's been some high scoring games this season, ridiculous.
What was that?
I don't know what's going on.
That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. But back to your business stuff, because I am genuinely curious and quite I'm admiring this of you right now. But when it comes to the marketing of pushing your business out there, how important is that? And what techniques do you use to really get your business out there and known as a good, reliable business?
So, I mean, for our business specifically, like I said, we work for builders. So it's mainly about getting repeat work for us and creating good relationships with our builders. And, you know, the way we've done that over the years, it's hard. You've got to get your foot in the door with these builders. They are happy with the subbies they've got, and they want to continue to use them. So using someone new is a bit of a risk for them. So getting our foot in the door was difficult over the years. You know, we were going in and dropping off brownies and saying, give us a shot at giving a quote to this, and we'd have to drop our price quite low to actually get our foot in the door. But now that we have got our foot in the door, we do offer a really good product.
Yep.
We have thought about what are all the pain points that a builder has with subcontractors, which is, I honestly feel like in the construction industry, it's really not hard to stand out and look good. Like, you give them a quote and show up on time, and you're already better than 50% of the companies out there. And then from there,
don't smell like darts and piss in your suite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, do good quality work and have good documentation. That's the next two things for a builder.
Mate, they love documentation. They love documentation.
Yeah.
They love fucking hard hats, even if you're not even in the construction zone. They love it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And so we've had a massive, but we know that's a pain point for builders. So that's been a big focus for us is addressing all those pain points, and so that once a builder does use us, they want to use us every time. So for us, we're not marketing to the masses. It's about getting repeat business, and we do that by just offering a really good service and having a really good product. And yeah, like I said, we did have to work hard, and we still do have to work hard when we want to get our foot in the door with a builder. But as we become bigger and we're more known in the industry, it does get easier, and we get approached more and more often now. And generally, we don't look for work at all anymore. It just comes to us, or it's repeat work. So it's pretty easy. But yeah, it obviously comes off the back of just having a good product and good service, because it can go the other way. You can get your foot in the door with the builder. If they have a shit experience with you, they'll never use you again.
Yep.
So it can go the opposite way. So you really do want to make sure you've got a good product.
Absolutely. And back to the helmet point, honestly, bro, when I was a tradie, some of these fucking blokes, they were power trippers, mate. You could be eating asbestos and grinding something with the grinder in the other hand, and as long as you have your helmet on, they don't give a shit. They're just, mate, some of them trip power so hard and shit, man. Honestly, it's bad.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Safety advisors, they love the power trip. God, they love it.
They're fucked.
And they love to justify their job.
Yeah.
Like, some of the stuff is just ridiculous.
Go home, have a root, and fuck off. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I had so many run-ins with foremans and shit, just because I was a floor grinder, so doing the diamond grinding and whatnot, and we'd wear earmuffs, and then when the areas that we would grind in would be taped off anyway, and no one would be above us, no one would be around us, we'd be taped off, perimetered, and everything. We're the only people in the area for a fair distance, depending on what job we were on. And they'd always come in, wear your helmet, fucking where's your safety glasses, wear your gloves. And I'm like, bro, I'm operating a remote control grinder. I'm not even holding the fucking thing. I'm holding a joystick, which I genuinely need to feel how it's going with the torque and all that type of stuff. Like, I'm playing a video game, like with that grinder. So I need to feel it. I can't do that with a fucking glove and glasses on, which are all scratched to the shit house, and a fucking stupid helmet. Hearing is the most important thing in this room right now, not even the glasses at all. And they're just, mate, but then you get other guys which just get it, they're just like, no worries, do your thing whilst walking around site, wear your helmet. Okay, no worries.
Yeah. Honestly, I actually think it's gotten worse in the last 2 years. Yeah. Because of the staff shortage around Australia. Everyone's got a job now. Even the shit safety advisors have got jobs now, because people just need people in roles. So now there's so many shit safety supervisors out there. As like you mentioned, like just telling you to do stupid stuff, things that aren't practical.
Yep.
So it'll be good when, I don't know when this staff shortage is going to end, but it'll be good whenever that is. Oh,
for sure, man. Like, I know that whenever I do my induction, they're like telling us all about working from heights and plumbing, and I'm like, fuck me, bro. I'm just here to grind floors, okay? I don't need to know how to use a fucking scissor lift, although anyone can use a scissor lift. Just don't run over my 3-phase leads. We don't have an issue, okay? Yeah. We're sweet. Yep. Because I've had that happen before too, mate. Some young blokes just drive over your leads. And you're like, are you kidding me? You're driving like this 2-ton thing over my electrical leads, which I have to wrap up at the end of the day, which, if it's still plugged in, depending on which way I wrap it up, I could fucking die, man.
Yeah, literally.
Honestly, some blokes don't think, man. But one thing I don't
that's why there's safety advisors in place, and they'll tell you to put your leads up on lead stands.
The thing about it, right, here's the counter argument, okay? So the lead stand situation, because they're a heavy 3-phase lead, they always fall over and never stay up. So that's why we perimeter off.
Exclusion zone.
So we give ourselves a perimeter, and then blokes still come in, not giving a fuck, and then they drive over it. And we're like, mate, we've done everything possible, and you still hit our lead. I remember some bloke came in. It happened once, and then it happened again, and we just told this foreman, and he just lost his shit. He came in, found who it was, who did it. And he said, mate, I fucking swear to God, did you do that? And he said, nah. And then he found out that he did do it because he lied to him. He's like, you fucking liar. You lying motherfucking see and called him all that shit. He said, if I see you fuck up one more fucking time on this job, I will kick your fucking ass so hard up into fucking orbit. He said, so fuck off. We're going to fucking re-induct you. You can get fucked. And you can go home for the day. And, oh, mate, this was an apprentice.
Yeah, really.
And he didn't even have his tickets either for the scissor lift. And he used the scissor lift. So he got absolutely reamed, that kid. But, yeah, there's some serious stuff going on in the trade and whatnot. And I think it's a little bit everywhere. There's power trippers and shit everywhere. I don't miss that side of things. But even like the mask situation, man. Like, you know, my old man and I, you know, on our licenses, we live together. It's my dad. Yeah. So, and we drive in the same car together. We go work on the site. It's just us two in the one room, and they're telling us to wear a mask. And we're like, we fucking live together, mate. Fuck off.
What, for COVID?
For COVID, yeah.
Oh, mate, yeah.
And we're just like,
I've never been a fan of the masks.
We live together. Like, mate, fuck off.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I don't mind it. If I'm grinding and stuff, I'll wear like our nice electric breather. You look like Bane from Batman. Like it breathes for you, has like a motor and stuff. If you've ever seen it,
yeah.
But yeah, it's no good. But yeah, what are your thoughts about the mask situation with COVID?
Oh, mate, I don't know. You know that COVID really did frustrate me through it all. You know, just some of the mandates that were being put in place. And, you know, obviously at first, I was all for it, you know, when they said 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yep.
And then like 2 years later, and, you know, I'm in Brisbane. We didn't have it bad at all. We probably had it better than everyone else.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I was still pissed off. Like, if I lived in Melbourne, I would have been in the streets rioting for sure. Like, I was very, very pissed off about
Throwing
it.
bricks to the CFMEU's headquarters.
Yeah.
At John Secker.
I didn't like, the government telling me what I can and can't do.
Yep.
Especially in that sense, and to the point of it locking you in your house, like it's ridiculous. Over, you know, COVID, and you know, I'm sure there's been some tragedies through COVID, but yeah, in my opinion, and look at what the global view on it now. It's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
Like, because it was never that bad. It just was never that bad, and I understand people have died from it. People have died from a lot of things, not just COVID. People die from a lot of things every day, and also a lot of things that we're not addressing, like obesity.
Yep. So
it's something that I actually haven't spoken about for ages because I used to get really heated and passionate about it. And my mum is actually does immunizations for COVID vaccines. So we have polar opposite views on it, and we just don't bring it up in front of each other now. So we love each other very much, but we just don't talk about it in front of each other anymore. So yeah, and I've had the vaccine. I had the first 2 shots, but I haven't had any boosters. And
yep.
Yeah, for a very long time, you know, mum, every time I saw her was telling me to get a booster. And, you know, it's like I had the vaccine and then I got COVID like a couple of weeks later. And I was like, what was the point of the vaccines then?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm no scientist and whatever, but look, like, I've had COVID. I lived through it. It was fine. And it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's it, man. That's it. It just comes down to how susceptible you are to it. Like if you're an obese person struggling to breathe and you're only alive because you're young and your heart and your body's, I guess, durable enough to be able to keep you alive, well then you're in for a shit time because your body's gonna have to work even harder to fight off this shit and keep your fat ass alive. But if you're a fit guy like yourself, myself, or others out there listening to the podcast, you sexy fucking alpha males. Well then you're sweet. You know, it's fucked. Like, and back like you said, man, with the obesity stuff, dude, it's fucking like we've got people that are like obese on Sports Illustrated. You just don't do that, man. Like, whilst we accept you and love you for who you are, don't tell us that is healthy because it's not. It's just wrong. We accept you and we love you how you are. That's great. Okay, we accept all shapes, sizes, colors, whatever the fuck you are, and whatever you identify as. But just don't advertise it as that's healthy, because it's not. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's not healthy. And yeah, we're in a society now where you've got to accept everything. And if you don't accept everything and every lifestyle, and then you're going to get cancelled, basically.
Yeah, you're a bigot. Yeah.
And like we're I'm hoping it's just the loud minority that are all over Twitter talking about rights, like everyone's rights and all this sort of thing. But like, you know, we're crossing the border now of like there's people out there with genuine mental illnesses, people that need mental help, and we're trying to say that it's okay and that the way they want to live is fine.
Yeah.
And I definitely am not going to get in the details about that.
No.
Because, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't, because we don't want to make this podcast one side or the other.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, there's just cancel culture's out there in full force, and
it's bad.
Twitter is the worst place for it. Like, you go onto Twitter and there's just like, I don't know, people just love to have a cause, I suppose, and just be ranting about something or trying to cancel somebody. It's
Andrew Tate got cancelled.
Yeah, well, unsurprisingly, I love the guy. I think he's hilarious.
It's so
not
funny.
saying I agree with everything he says, because I think he's getting more ridiculous as time goes on.
This
to like
exactly what everyone says. They're like, he's funny. I support him. I agree with the majority. Like, you know, most of the stuff that he says. Some things are quite extreme, but yeah, it's fucking nuts, man.
Man, he's been playing a character for the last 10 years. You know, he's been on Big Brother and all these other sorts of shows, and like
How did he go on Big Brother?
I'm not sure. He was doing the same sort of shit. Like, it was pretty funny. I've seen some clips of it.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Like, he made a lot of enemies like immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a clip, and he goes into the house after everybody's already in there, and he said like 8 out of 10 and you're a fake as in here. Everything you're saying stuff behind everybody's back. Is I'm not going to tell you who the 8 out of 10 are. And everybody got pissed off at him about it, like saying, it's not me, I'm not the one that's fake.
Yeah.
The second he walked in the house, everybody hated him already. But that's the character he plays. He loves it.
Yeah, he fucking loves it, man. Controversy and publicity. It's like Eazy-E said, man. Any publicity is good fucking publicity, man.
Yeah, well, that's why shapes changed their flavor, I guess.
That's right, dickheads. And all this cheese, fucking cheese, and fuck off, okay?
Yeah.
But, dude, we had a curfew. You know that? We had a curfew in Melbourne.
Yeah, see that? Like, that's insane.
I had to be home by 8 p.m. I had to be home by 8 p.m., man. Like, fucking, I never even had a curfew for my parents.
When I heard that,
curfew.
At that point, like, it was just going, they were taking more and more and more, and like, that was what was pissing me off. I'm like, where's this going to end?
Yeah.
And so the people that are out in the streets in Melbourne protesting, like, good on them. And I genuinely think it's made a difference, you know? Like, the government's not going to come out and say, oh, we backed off the mandates because there were people protesting, but I genuinely think it would have made a difference, and it would influence some of the decisions being made.
Yeah.
And so I think it's definitely required, and like, that's what protests are for. Government's doing something the public doesn't agree with. So yeah, more power to them. Like, yeah, what everyone in Melbourne was going through was ridiculous. Like, I just can't believe it.
It was nuts, mate. It was fucking nuts. And to be part of it, and you're like, fuck, what's the excuse if because I started going home later from my missus' place and whatnot, and I was like, dude, what's my excuse? I just slept in, and they can get fucked. Or if I was in my tradie car, so like I'll just come back from the job, mate. No, but I thought, see, a conspiracy theory I was thinking is like, they're moving something, bro. They're moving something. Like, something big's being moved. Maybe a fucking UFO. Like, sheesh,
yeah, true.
Looking for a
UFOs.
fucking UFO.
Dude, I've just been watching a bunch of Joe Rogan and Bob Lazar and all this stuff about UFOs recently.
Have ya?
Yeah.
Mate, once you go in that wormhole, you're never coming out. It's sucking you in. It's a big.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. Like,
it is.
Yeah, I've always had a fascination with UFOs ever since I was little, and it's just always interesting to hear some of the stories. And you never know what's true or not, you know.
Oh, this is the other thing as well. If you like, let's say that you finish this podcast episode and you turn around to your nice background that you have. If you guys are watching, are listening now, go to YouTube and check this shit out, because Adam has a dope as fuck background right now. Like, the city line that he has, it's sick. And you can see Macca's right there getting free advertising on the fucking stream. But anyway, back to my point, which is, holy shit, I've completely gone blank, mate. Can you fill me in? UFOs. And so with the UFOs, I actually thought that they were like moving them or something, or I'm just like, there's got to be something happening, man. There's got to be something happening. But it's crazy because they think that they're in the ocean because we haven't explored that, which does make sense. It does make sense.
Well, they could be anywhere, mate. Like,
who fucking knows, bro?
There's stories of like Air Force pilots tracking things underwater, and then they pop out of the water, and there's lots of accounts from like pilots and this Bob Lazar guy supposedly one of the first people that ever came out that worked at Area 51 back in the 80s, and he was working on alien craft that had been there for a long time. And like, you should hear his story. It's actually pretty incredible.
I heard it.
And yeah. And honestly, I believe him. Like, I genuinely do believe him. He's had the same story for 30 something years, very detailed. And like, as more time goes on, like, there's more of his details that he's given out is getting corroborated and proved to be correct, that people used to think he was crazy for saying. So very, very interesting. Also, like, yeah, I don't know what it means for us. I genuinely believe there's aliens out there. So
there has to, mate. Like, you've got to be fucking simple-minded if you don't think that there's more than just us out there, man. And that was back to my point before Macca's interrupted me when I was thinking about like a Big Mac or something out there. Sorry to everyone that's listening to this and just thought of a Big Mac, but it's like we finish this podcast and you look behind you and there's an alien that pops out in front of you, and then you're like, holy shit, mum, dad, sister, brother, cousin, social media, I saw this. Now then you look like a fucking loony because you're like, you've seen it, and you're like, no, it's true. And the next minute, you're wrapped up in a fucking white straitjacket and you're in a fucking pillow room. Like,
I know.
Well, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't a lot of nut jobs out there, a lot of loonies that, haven't seen stuff that say, and you just get like mixed in with the rest of them.
Oh, for sure.
But it's because, the government hasn't come out and disclosed that they're real or anything like that. So till that happens, it's always going to be a conspiracy, isn't it? Till there's a massive sighting in a major city in the world. Oh,
it's crazy. It's crazy, man. And there was videos, like I hear about a story about how one was tracked from 60,000 feet down to zero in under a second. And now that's where they can track from, 60,000 feet. So it was obviously coming in before that from a higher distance. But it's just the speed of them is just insane. There's no form of heat or anything coming from the ship and whatnot. They're just so fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to Bob Lazar's story and what he talks about, like he was working on the propulsion systems and based anti-gravity and creating some gravity envelope around the vehicle. So it's bending space around it. It's not actually moving as per se.
Yep.
It makes a lot of sense how it could work. And then you also wouldn't, like one of the big things they've talked about, like we get faster and faster jets, is the G's that the pilots experience, and they're passing out with high amounts of G's, and you wouldn't get that if you're in a gravity envelope because it would just feel like you're not moving.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when a train takes off and you feel it for the start, and then when it hits its pace, you don't feel it. You're steady.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just how it is the whole time.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to bring up as well, which is a little bit off topic. This weekend just gone, I went to Sandown for the V8 Supercars. Never been.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, it's so good, man. The cars, the fucking rumble, the sound. Oh, my God, bro. The speed, the fucking pace of these things. Woo!
Yeah.
Have you ever been?
No, I've never been.
Mate.
And
yeah. Unreal.
It's one of the... It's unreal in person, is it?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you listen to it on the TV. Obviously, it's not going to sound...
great.
Cool.
Sounds great on TV if you have the surround sound. I got a Bose surround sound speaker, like a sound bar for my TV. It's fucking unreal.
Yeah.
But the start of the race, when all the cars are limiter bashing, waiting to take off at the green, mate.
Yeah.
I've speaking about it now, sent chills down my spine. It is so loud. Like it's just another feeling.
Wow.
It is the loudest chest thumping experience I've ever had in my life. And I was 100 meters away from the car, like right next to him, up in the stands. And then we stood down by the fence when they were zipping past, and you could still feel it there. But that first initial takeoff, when all the cars were there, limiter bashing, mate, there is nothing on this earth like that. And it's different in Formula One too. They're like, ee! But this is like this is a V8. These are muscle and Mustangs. Like this is absolutely nuts. We saw the new Generation 3 Camaro go around as well, the Z01.
Oh yeah,
that thing fucking thumps. It's quicker.
Imagine driving it.
Oh man,
imagine the feeling and of driving it and having that sound around you.
I know, bro. I know. I do have an SS Commodore downstairs, one of the new ones.
Oh no! See, and I said I'll never have a Commodore.
Yeah. I know.
It used to be my dream car. Like I'm not joking you. When I was like 19, 20, all I wanted was an SS or a Maloo. Like Maloo, back in the day, like a HSV Maloo.
Yeah.
I loved them.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I guess I used to be just a massive Holden fan for whatever reason. I have no idea why, really.
Yeah.
I guess because I owned a Commodore, I just had to be a Holden
You
fan.
had to be, mate. It's either Holden or Ford when you're a young fella. But yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a SSV Redline wagon, one of the last ones built in the last month. Yeah. So it's pretty rare.
I like the wagons, to be honest. They look quite cool.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I got a tune on it. Got an air intake, cam, and
Get the Walkinshaw pack on it.
it's similar, but it actually puts out a bit more. This one is a DeFilippo pack. Yeah, by the racer DeFilippo. But yeah, it fucking thumps. It puts out 555 horsepower. My car.
Yeah.
So it goes.
What color is it?
White.
Oh yeah, cool.
White. So white with the black rims and the red big Brembos on there. So and I got the windows tinted. It's lowered a little bit, so it's nicely tucked and shit. So I drive it like once a month. I babied it. It never goes out in the rain ever.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, do you have any points left on your license?
All of them. Touch wood.
Really?
Touch wood.
Wow,
all the points.
good on you.
My daily's my Amarok, the high line.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. So you're well behaved on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, like if someone's not doing the speed limit, I will, or if they don't go at a green immediately, I will fucking let them know about it.
You have to in a four-wheel drive ute. That's your responsibility on the road.
Exactly. Because they may not be able to see it from their low car, so I see above their car and let them fucking know about it. Yeah. But driving that car compared to the Amarok is completely different. Like you go from one extreme, which is super low, you have to go over speed humps real fucking slow. Amarok, you're up high, you can see over signs, over cars, you got massive mirrors, and you just fucking fly over speed humps and not give a shit. Well, not that you don't give a shit, but the car's built for, some humps and bumps and shit. But obviously the power, there's nothing comes close to that. It just comes down to if it gets traction or not with the stones on the wheels. But mate,
true.
Great car. I've probably got my two favorite cars ever. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they're two good cars to have. Polar opposites.
Oh, they are.
I've actually heard you can sell the Amaroks for quite a bit of money now that they're not making them anymore.
Are they not making them anymore?
No, they discontinued them in like 2020, I think. And so from what I've heard now, you could sell them for like 80 grand plus.
I got this one. This is a 2022 one. I got brand new.
Really?
Yeah. It's done 6,000 Ks.
Well, I don't know. I heard they discontinued them.
I've had it for a year. I've done 6,000 Ks.
Yeah, okay. And that's your daily car?
Yeah, well, it only drives to like the station now. I changed jobs. It was for work, but then I changed jobs, so now I just drive to the local station, and it just gets parked there. So it's the best fucking station car out there.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Because when I first got it, I was working in the trade, and we're towing our big trailer with the grinders and all that equipment in there, and mate, it towed like nothing was behind. The thing fucking towed amazingly, because we chatted to the gentleman who owns the Toyota dealership, and he's like, we said, what do we get? We want to get a Hilux. And he said, as much as I want to take your money, are you going to be taking it for driving a lot? And we said, no, it's majority, 98% of the time, road car, and for towing, he said, get the Hilux, you won't look back. He said, what about the Ranger? And we said, we got a fucking Holden, okay? We are never going forward. Yeah. So I went and got the Amarok, and he said, look, it's got better towing, a V6 turbo, it's great, and it thumps. It goes pretty hard. Once it spools, because there's a bit of lag to it, once it gets going, which is good. So, but the Hilux, what you've got, man, that's a great car too. That's an unbelievable car. Yeah,
I love it. I don't drive it much either, to be honest. Like I work in the city, and I live pretty close to the city, so I either walk into work or catch the bus in. So it I don't know, it goes to the gym and back, basically. That's about it.
Nice, man. A humble lads, man. Dude, we're closing out an hour and a half here. Is there that actually flew? And I liked the last half of our segment as well. It was a good podcast. We touched over absolutely everything, man.
A lot of topics.
But is there anything that you want to have to say? Any closing comments that you have to say before we wrap this bad boy up?
I mean, look, I think I've touched on everything. Spoken about gaming, spoken about my business, we've spoken about UFOs. I've had a great
UFOs,
time.
All of it.
Yeah, I've had a great time, mate. I really appreciate you having me on.
No, absolute pleasure, man. And look, man, for myself and the community listening right now, we wish you all the best of luck for DreamHack coming up this week. Picture that this podcast is coming up then. So let's make it normal for this week, AK, at the end of the weekend. If you guys haven't bought tickets, make sure to go buy some at DreamHack. Go get a signature or photo from Adam and myself. There we go. There we go. People are gonna get. We got the fans coming in, baby.
We got some fans.
Got the fans coming in. All of Adam's socials will be linked below, and that is going to do it for the end of this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to leave it a thumbs up, 5-star rating on all the podcast episode ratings wherever you find them. Spotify, Apple, audioboom.com/Jacko GFreak Speaks for all the podcast assets. But until next time, remember to be safe, stay swell, and as always, boom baby. Peace.